Hello, people of YouTube. My name is Steve Gray. This is Gray's Guitars, and thank you for watching. If you're new here, please hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell, and leave a like, and feel free to comment down below what you would like me to do for future music and guitar-related videos. So today, we are talking about Warmoth yet again. Yup, I know a lot of you like my Warmoth videos. I get a decent amount of views on them, and I am going to be talking about Warmoth next. Here's my Warmoth again, bringing it out. You've seen her a million times at this point. You've heard her a couple of times. But we're going to be talking about exactly what you should do for a neck in this video. Fret size, nut width, not so much the neck wood. I might get into a wood video a little bit later on. Nut width, etc., nut spacing, all of that good stuff. It is a super wide warhead. Warhead is the shape of the neck. It is a right-handed reverse. Gonco Elvis is actually the neck wood. I thought it was roasted maple for the longest time. That is not. It is Goncalo Elvis. I'm probably butchering that. The fretboard wood is actually Kingswood. So I thought it was a type of ebony. Nope, it is Kingswood. The nut width is a massive 1 7/8. It's basically a 2-inch nut. So keep in mind your standard nut is like 1 11/16. So a lot. I mean, you think it's not that big a difference. It's a big difference. It's a standard thin. The frets are the 6150. It said gold color, but these don't look gold to me. I mean, let's get a close up to this. Does that look gold to you? Because it don't look gold to me. And then it said it was the Goto Grover Realm 10 to 16 compound radius, 22 frets, 25 and a ½ inch scale length, pre-installed Irvana Corinne nut, white pearlite night saw for the inlays, no side dots, and standard fuller bolt as well. So now that you know all of that information, it took a while. I finally figured out exactly what my guitar was, which I am happy. Minus, I'm pretty sure those are not gold frets, but I could be wrong. Let's talk about just the necks. So just the necks specifically, if you want to order a replacement neck, what you should do, what you should possibly get, where you should go, etc. So as I talked about in my previous video, there is the showcase, which is already stuff that's pre-built, saves you some money, or you can custom build it yourself with different woods, etc. That is up to you. So profile-wise, there are multiple different profiles. Your best bet starting out, if you don't know where to go, is your standard thin, which is basically go pick up any Fender or Squire off the rack. That's basically going to be what it feels like. That's going to be the neck profile. Or a little bit more expensive would be your 50-ounce round back. There is an extra charge for that. They even charge you a little bit more in the showcase for that as well. Go pick up any Gibson or they actually have the newest model as a 59 round back. So go ask. Pick up a few different Gibson profiles. It's the chunkier one. Or you can grab a PRS. It's going to be that general profile. So those are your best two if you don't know where to go. They also have like the Clapton V profile if you're looking for that. They have the Wolfgang where one side is thicker than the other. I think they got a Stevie Ray Vaughan, which is similar to that as well, but they got a bunch of different neck profiles. The extra wide, keep in mind, I don't even think they offer it at this point in time anymore. Now let's go to the nut. So next what you're going to want to do is look at nut widths. So there's several different types. They have 4 available at this point in time. And pretty much the go-to is the 1 11/16 or the 43 millimeter. That is your best bet for nut widths. That's basically what every guitar has that comes out of the factory today. Very few guitars vary from that unless you custom order them, but that's basically where you should be going. Then the smallest they have is the 1 5/8 or the 41 millimeter. This was on a lot of guitar makers in the 50s and 60s. It's smaller, a little bit more cramped, strings are a little bit closer together, and that's if you're looking for that vintage tone. Now they also have a 1 3/4, a 44 millimeter, where they did some of these on the shred guitars in the 80s based off of what their website is saying. And basically what that means is if you want a little bit more string spacing, a little bit wider at the nut, that's what you're going to go for. And then finally, there is the behemoth crazy thing where if you got super huge, ridiculous hands, well, not ridiculous, we'll just say really big hands. The 1 7/8, which is on my super wide. And basically, it's the granddaddy. If you got giant hands, this would be what you want. A lot of spacing in between the strings. You could actually, on that neck, you could probably get a 7th string if you wanted to drill a couple of holes and modify it a little bit. That's how big it is, just for a reference. Now, the thing you need to know about guitars, every guitar does this, it progressively gets wider as you go up the neck. So this might be 1 7/8. The time you get down here, you're probably 2 inches, maybe even by the end of it a little bit over that 2 inches. I mean, 1 7/8 back basically is 2 inches, but most guitars, you're 1 11/16. You're going to go up the fretboard and get to that 2-inch mark, maybe get a little bit over that 2-inch mark. The reason that guitars' fretboards widen out, along with the necks as well, mainly just the fretboards though, is because it's basically to do with string vibration. Basically, the closer you get to the bridge, the bigger the vibration is, so you need a little bit more space in between the strings to get the note without it buzzing. So that's basically what you're looking at. You're basically looking at, if you don't know what you're doing, standard thin 59 round back, standard nut width is 1 11/16. That's what I would definitely recommend. Tuner holes, figure out what tuners you want, and then get it routed accordingly. The last thing we have to talk about, actually the last two things, is there are different styles of truss rod and the frets, what type of frets you should get on the neck. So there are 3 types of truss rods. There's your vintage modern, and your modern. So the vintage, basically that means the truss rod is only going to be accessible by taking off the neck, and you have to turn it on the bottom of the neck like so many of those old Fenders. The vintage modern is going to be what is on most of your modern Fenders, where it's adjusted at the top of the neck. You stick the Allen wrench in there and it can adjust it up top. And then you have the modern, which is you can adjust it from the bottom, like this is the vintage modern style, and then there's a small hole on the side where you can adjust it there for smaller adjustments, not massive adjustments. And it makes it look nicer up top, but keep in mind that you may feel that little bump. I personally don't feel it, just because the fretboard extends over that on this particular neck. But you may feel that little bump. But that is up to you if you want to do that. Personally, in my opinion, that's the most aesthetically pleasing of the 3. The thing you need to know is the side adjustments. You need to be very careful because they are known to break. And if they break, it is cost you $180. That's right. $180 for you to ship their neck back to them and them to put in a new truss rod, which is a little bit ridiculous, a little bit pricey, and there's not really a need to, because you have that second option of where you're just adjusting it from the bottom. So if it breaks, your best bet is either leave it alone, fill the hole, and move on, go about your day, or if it really annoys you, just buy a brand new neck, sell the old one, because if you're going to pay $180, you might as well pay the extra $20 to get that roasted maple neck from the showcase. So those are the 3 different types of truss rods. If you don't know where to go with that, you're not comfortable with popping a neck off your guitar, you're not sure about the side adjustment thing, your best bet is to just go with the vintage modern. So that I would just recommend, if you're not sure where to go, just get the plain regular vintage modern. Don't worry about it. Now let's go on to the fret size. I actually have a fret chart in front of me. So they have 2 types, technically 3. So there's your standard nickel frets, there's your stainless steel frets, and your gold frets. So your standard nickel frets, I'm going to just go through all of them, read them off the webpage, and kind of give you the size. So there's the 6230, which is your vintage Fender necks, the 6130, often is like a median jumbo. That's basically what's on pretty much every single Gibson. There is the 6105, which is a very popular choice. That's what a lot of people are getting. It's on a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. 6105. Then you got your 6150. This is your modern Fender American necks. So if you like the modern Fender American necks, you pick up a Fender off your shelf, you like the fret size, that's what you want to go for. And then next is your 6100, which is very large, almost a scallop feeling, you know, very tall fret. This is on a lot of Ibanez necks. So I would say your two best bets, if you're not sure where to go, is either the 6105, which is it's like the most popular choice that they offer, or the 6150. So either one of those two would be perfectly fine. If you prefer the Gibson, do the 6130 frets. That's your best bet. Now going on to the stainless steel, they offer pretty much everything that the same sizes minus kind of the Gibson size, which I thought was a little weird, but let's just go from there. So you got the stainless steel 6230, which is the vintage Fenders. You got the 6105, which is the most popular choice of all of their fret wire on the website. You got the 6150, which is the modern Fender American size, yet again, just stainless steel. You got the 6115, which it says jumbo wire with more peak. So basically, it's like a more of a U kind of V shape is the best way to describe that one. That is unique to Warmoth specifically. And then yet again, you have the 6100, which is common on the Ibanez necks. Moving on to the gold colored fret wire. They say that it's basically similar to stainless steel, maybe a little less hard, but basically the same hardness, and this is going to cost you extra too. So keep in mind, stainless steel costs you extra, gold frets cost you extra. The gold fret is only offered in two sizes, the 6150 and the 6100. So the modern Fender size and the Ibanez style. Those are the only two that they have available in the gold size if you're looking in that. And now, last but not least, let's talk about scale length on these bad boys. So most of them are going to be your, especially in the showcase, are going to be your standard Gibson Fender size. So your 25.5 scale length. That means the nut to the bridge where it first hits the string on the bridge, that's your scale length. Now, if you're more of a Gibson fan like me, prefer that scale length, they have what's called a conversion size, which basically converts your 25.5 scale length guitar into a 23, I think it's 24 3/4 guitar. So basically you're going from the Fender scale length to the Gibson scale length, which is pretty nice. So those are probably the main two that you're going to want to look for. 25.5 is kind of the go-to standard almost on everything. And then Gibson-wise, that's on a lot of stuff. It's basically your Gibson, your Ebaphones. That's where you're going to find the 23 3/4 scale length. They do have a couple different variations. They have a baritone conversion. So if you're looking to make your guitar into a baritone, they do have a conversion for that as well. They have Mustang ones, you know, the shorter scale Mustang Duosonics. I think they have a 7/8 conversion. They got a bunch of different styles and neck lengths, but as I said, if you don't know where to go, you're better off sticking with the Gibson conversion or the standard 25.5, 25.5 scale length. That's on basically almost everything. You pick a guitar off the wall, 9 out of 10, that's going to be the scale length. Unless it's a Gibson, unless it's a PRS. As far as I know, they don't have a PRS scale length at this time. PRS scale length is just 25 straight, so in between a Gibson and a Fender. And you don't see that really on anything besides the PRS guitars. So, to wrap up this general video, what you should get for your first Warmoth neck, all of the different options. So you should be looking for either a standard thin or a 59 profile. Nut-wise, you should be going for the 1 at 11/16 if you don't know where to go. Truss rod wise, go for the vintage modern if you're unsure of what your option should be. Fret wise, go for the 6105 or the 6150. I would highly recommend if you don't care about the tonal differences. There's a little bit of tonal differences. Some people hear it, some people don't. I would definitely recommend go for the stainless steel frets because then you're never going to really have to replace that fret again. You might, but it's going to be a very, very long time before you do. As most people know, most strings are made out of nickel. Stainless steel is harder than nickel. So it is not really going to wear down too much. Scale length wise, if you, yet again, not sure where you want to go, your best bet is stick to the standard 25.5-inch scale length. If you're replacing especially if you're replacing a standard fender neck, that's where you should be going. Or go for the Gibson conversion scale length if you're looking for more of that Gibson feel, that a little bit shorter scale length. So that has been probably a plethora of information for everybody. I hope that helps anyone that's looking to replace their current neck with a Warmoth neck or aftermarket neck, more specifically Warmoth in this video. But maybe I will do an additional video about all the different types of woods and fretboard woods, so shaft woods, which is basically the main source of the neck, and the fretboard wood, which is basically what you're going to be playing on, and kind of tell you all the different brightnesses. They have a little brightness warm scale, and kind of where to go to from there. My personal favorite so far, I just like the way roasted maple looks. So if you don't know where to go and want something that's darker and looks cool, go for roasted maple. It's a little bit cheap, more expensive than regular maple, but it looks pretty cool. Anyway, my name is Steve Gray. Thank you for watching. This is Gray's Guitars, and as always, have a good one.